All right, welcome everybody to San Francisco Civic Center on this gorgeous day here in the city. My name is PJ Johnston. I'm the president of the San Francisco Arts Commission. And we, along with our various partners, many of whom you'll hear about in a moment, are pleased to present to you today this incredible temporary work of art here on Civic Center Plaza, 3 heads, 6 arms, by the internationally renowned artist Zhang Huan. This is in conjunction with the 30th anniversary of the San Francisco Shanghai Sister City Committee celebration, which you'll also hear a little bit more about today. And we are so pleased to have you all here. We're thrilled to have the artists join us today and our various partners in this effort. This piece behind us that we will dedicate today will be with us here in San Francisco for 18 months. So everybody will have a chance to see it in various lights from various angles and enjoy its presence here in the city of San Francisco. I can't think of a better, more gorgeous morning to kick this off, and we thank you for joining us here. Behind this effort, of course, to begin with, is our mayor, who told his staff and the folks at the San Francisco Arts Commission that he wanted something special, something remarkable, something spectacular to mark this anniversary. And you'll hear from the people who took that directive and got it done. First and foremost is the executive director of the San Francisco Arts Commission, Luis Cancel, who, working with Jill Manton and the rest of the staff at the Arts Commission, managed to gather the various components and people that needed to help bring this to fruition and get it done in time for this celebration. So, with no further ado, Luis Cancel.
Thank you, President Johnson, and good morning to everyone here. This is really a phenomenal turnout, and really I'm very, very pleased on behalf of the Arts Commission. I want to thank all of you for taking the time this morning to join us in this dedication ceremony. You know, the Arts Commission is especially grateful that Mayor Newsom, Consul General Gao, Vice Consul Zhang, Cultural Council Chen, Mr. James Fang, Senator Feinstein's representative Martha Flores, and especially the creator of this magnificent sculpture, Mr. Zhang Huang, could all be here today to celebrate the dedication of this work in the heart of our city. Mayor Newsom, the staff, the commissioners, and I are especially proud to work for a mayor who not only supports the arts, but who challenges us to do more, to be bolder. And I distinctly recall about 8 months ago, he said, "Luis, I want something big. I want something impactful and controversial. I want you to push the envelope." Well, Mr. Mayor, I hope this is big enough for you. Last year, the Arts Commission's public art program celebrated its 40th anniversary and made history with the debut of the Maya Lin's last memorial, What is Missing, which is at the Academy of Science. And today, we make history again with the premiere, the world premiere, of a new sculpture by Zhang Huang. I think that's worth a round of applause. Yeah, you too. He is widely recognized as one of the most influential and provocative contemporary artists working today. He gained international notoriety for his early performance art, which were captured in photographs that now grace the walls of some of the world's most significant museums, including our very own San Francisco Museum of Modern Art. After he moved to Shanghai from New York City in 2005, Mr. Chang started a new chapter in his artistic career by embracing a more traditional one of making art objects, paintings, sculptures, drawings. So his work now exemplifies a more overt relationship with traditional Chinese culture and Buddhist iconography. However, as we can see in 3 heads and 6 arms, he continues to use the body as a primary vehicle for exploring questions related to tradition, related to history, and to personal experience. This work is part of an important series of monumental works depicting the fragmented extremities of Buddhist sculptures that inspired Mr. Chang's discovery of religious sculptures that had been destroyed during the Cultural Revolution and were for sale in a Tibetan market. A devout Buddhist himself, Mr. Chang was deeply moved by the sight of the desecrated sculptures, and by enlarging these small fragments to a heroic scale, he believes that he is able to alleviate the pain caused by their destruction. It is also a commentary on the changing realities of the Chinese people, who are being forced to reconcile their deep-seated traditions in the face of the country's successful and rapid modernization. With 3 heads, 6 arms, Mr. Chang presents us with a vision of hope that these two seemingly opposing forces can coexist with equal value. Thanks to Mr. Chang and the Pace Gallery, and the generosity of many of our sponsors, and our next speaker will address all of the legions of individuals and corporations that helped to bring this sculpture here to San Francisco. And I'm happy to announce that the sculpture will be here through the end of 2011. And I am also proud to announce that the National Endowment for the Arts had awarded the Arts Commission a $70,000 grant, one of the second highest this year, in order to support the bringing of this sculpture to San Francisco. And we're grateful to Chairman Landesman for that support. And now I want to take a moment to introduce the person, part of the team here at the San Francisco Arts Commission, but really the person who spent many, many sleepless nights trying to overcome the various obstacles associated with the transport and the bringing this fabulous sculpture here to San Francisco. And I want you to join me in welcoming and thanking Jill Manton for her great work on behalf of the city of San Francisco. Jill?
Thank you, Luis. That was wonderful. And welcome to everyone. Can you all hear me? I know I have a soft voice. This is a glorious event. I'm so happy you could be here to join us. I'm just amazed at how art can galvanize an entire city. Literally overnight, I think the Buddha has become the talk of the town. My main purpose, as Luis said, at this podium is to identify and thank the many people involved on both sides of the Pacific Ocean, without whose help and passion for this project, it simply could not have been realized. To quote former First Lady Hillary Clinton, "It takes a village," and with this project, that phrase could not ring more true. As the project manager, I am the common thread connecting all of the many visible and invisible contributors to the project. I know that thank yous can be the most boring part of a ceremony and people generally tune out, but please listen, because through my somewhat chronological list, you will learn the complex and dramatic saga of the Buddha's great journey from Shanghai to San Francisco, and just a glimpse at how complex it is to bring a project of this scale into fruition. But first and foremost, at the top of my list, I must thank the artist Zhang Huan, for giving us the true honor and privilege of displaying his wonderful sculpture in our most public of places. And I want to thank also Mayor Newsom for giving the Arts Commission the mandate to think big and do something spectacular for the city. That's all I needed to hear to get me going. So, Mayor, I hope we have achieved what you had in mind. Thank you. Glad to please the mayor. Always want to do that. Additionally, without the thumbs up and encouragement from my big boss, Luis Cancel, and the approval of the Arts Commission, this project would have been dead in the water. So thank you to my commissioners and to my director for supporting this idea. I And with their usual enthusiasm for placing art in parks and plazas, our good friends at Rec and Park General Manager Phil Ginsberg, who's here today, and Chief Operating Officer Denny Kern, supported the sculpture once I could verify that the 30,000-pound weight of the artwork was not going to crash in the roof of the parking garage. So Dejan Kolb Engineering also contributed to this project. There's so many people who gave and gave and gave, and this is, as I said, somewhat chronological. There's still some big names to mention here. Provided the structural engineering calculations at no cost to the city, and I was able to convince Rec and Park that we could safely install the sculpture without doing damage to city property. And so if you actually wonder why the sculpture is not quite dead center, it's because our engineer told us that it had to be on within 12 inches of the center line of the plaza. So it disturbed my sense of symmetry when I went in the street and looked at it. I kept trying to move my head, but we had to listen to the engineers. There was very, very little latitude for artistic intervention. And now that I had sort of the city approvals lined up, for the most part, I asked the Pace Gallery in New York City if they would consider my proposal. And to my great delight, my colleague, my partner in this endeavor, my best friend now, Joe Baptista, representing the Pace Gallery, supported the idea and obtained approval from the artist. Now we really had the green light. This was the make or break moment in the project's history, and thank you Pace Gallery, thank you Joe and thank you Zhang for agreeing to loan us this beautiful piece, again at no cost to San Francisco. Next, Arts Commissioner Greg Chu arranged for me to meet some very wonderful people, Mr. Howard Hu and Mrs. Teresa Hu, friends of his, who happened to own the Waterfront Container Leasing Company. We met for a drink, and and they said, Jill, well, what can we do for you? And when I explained that I hoped that they would help me ship the Buddha from Shanghai to San Francisco round trip at no cost to the city, that was my ideal wish, and my less than ideal wish was that they would do it at a great discount. I saw them exchanging glances, and Howard turned to me and he said, Jill, we'll take care of it. So this was a grand moment. Thank you, Mr. and Mrs. Hu. Would you please stand up so people can see you? This is another San Francisco-based company with offices in Shanghai and around the world, but really the passion of the project and its impact on the city appealed to them. So thank you for your great gift. So the Who's went to work and immediately brought in Victor Angoko of Madsen Shipping Lines, or Madsen Navigation Lines. Victor flew here from Hawaii to be at the dedication, and actually Madsen provided the shipping free from Shanghai, and also a lot of the project management and paperwork. Please stand up, Victor. Thank you. They did an excellent job, and they placed the torso. Just wait a moment. They placed the torso of the Buddha because it was too big to fit in a container at the very top of their ship, and it was wrapped in red. And so the Buddha, I like to think of the Buddha sort of safeguarding this journey of the Madsen boat across the Pacific. It arrived safely in Long Beach, and thank you so much, Victor. Also, I want to thank the Who's for giving us the expertise of their staff, Diane Claravel, Leslie Hu, and Scott Hugh. They did not merely just say, okay, we'll do this for you for free, but they actually had their staff work with us on a daily basis and help us really project manage the details and logistics and the complications of exporting a work of this scale and complexity. So would you please stand as well, Diana and Leslie and Scott? Thank you. I couldn't have done it without your expertise and guidance. We're total novices at bringing 30,000 pounds of copper and bronze sculpture from Shanghai, so thank you so much. And now that the project, now that we had the shipping and the export taken care of, the project really gained traction. And with that, our development director, Rochelle Axel, was able to add that information to our pending grant with the National Endowment for the Arts that Luis mentioned, and we procured that $70,000, one of the highest awards given. So everything sort of builds up, and everybody really, again, it takes a village, and every day somebody else participated and added more. Scott Attow, the president of Attow Fine Arts Handling, puts his heart and soul into everything he does, and he was so taken by the spirit of this project that Attow also waived their administrative fees. So everyone wanted to do this at, virtually no cost to the city. It was kind of amazing to me. City departments don't work that way. They say, send the money over, then I'll do the work. So this was amazing. I also want to thank Brian for, sorry I forgot your last name, for the head of the crew who flawlessly executed with a crew of 8 or 10 people the installation. They finished ahead of time. It involved them crawling inside the armature of the Buddha to attach and bolt it together. It was a magnificent undertaking, and you did a flawless and spectacular job. I know Zhang is very, very pleased. So thank you, Scott, and thank you, Brian. And the story's not over. You're very polite for clapping and applauding. I hope I'm not boring you. But everything seemed to be going well until we hit a cultural roadblock, getting all of the export paper done in time for the vessel departure. And at this point, we reached out and called upon the very gracious and well-connected former Arts Commission President Rosalind C. Swig, who is not with us this morning. She had another appointment. No sooner had I contacted Mrs. Swig than she wrote an email to Senator Dianne Feinstein, had a phone conversation, and before I knew it, the Washington, D.C., L.A., and San Francisco offices of Dianne Feinstein were working on this. I know we have a representative here from Dianne Feinstein's office. Could you raise your hand? Where are you? Okay. Thank you so much. Within 2 days, we had a letter from the Senator Feinstein that was sent to the Shanghai Office of Foreign Affairs urging their support in expediting the paperwork. Now armed with this very official letter, we worked with Mr. Zhang Weiwei, from Vice Consul of the Chinese Consulate, and Mr. Li Yin of the Shanghai Office of Foreign Affairs, Ms. Lily Huang of China SF, and thanks to Dr. Jay Xu, the director of the Asian Art Museum, and his staff, Robin Grosbeck. We were also referred to Ms. Yang of Shanghai International Cultural Association. I want to say that the Madsen Shanghai team and Zhang Wan's own studio staff finalized the customs paperwork, obtained the customs clearance, and not with a moment to spare. We had already missed 2 boats. This was the last boat on April 15th in order for us to make this dedication, and after that, with the mayor's schedule and his future and Zhang Wan's schedule, who knew if we'd ever get this gathering together. So really pleased that it all worked out. And I'm getting to the end of the thank yous, so don't worry. I had a terrific professional team of staff at the Arts Commission, smart, intuitive problem solvers with a good sense of humor. I'd like to single out Allison Cummings, wherever you are. Allison, our senior registrar, for her outstanding work in helping to coordinate this project and her ability to stay cool and calm all of the time, as well as Kate Patterson, our PR and communication expert extraordinaire. And lastly, my intern, Geneviève Masse from Quebec, who took care of all of our graphic work, documented the process, just was my right arm during the whole project. And of course, last but not least, our city attorneys, Aideen Vera and Virginia Dario Elizondo, who spent hours of their time working on the details of the loan agreement and the insurance so that everything was perfect, all sides were protected, and in the end, that's what we want. We also had another contributor, the Huntington Hotel, graciously agreed to not charge for Zhangwan's stay. And so with so many partners, I have to say this is truly an exemplary public-private partnership. Most of the cost of the project has been private contributions. And I would like to ask you one last time to applaud this small village of individuals on both sides of the Pacific who made this dream a reality. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Jill. So clearly it takes a lot of work and a lot of people to bring a 10-ton sculpture across the Pacific Ocean and bring it to San Francisco Civic Center. I know everyone wants to get to the mayor and hear from the artist. I just want to quickly bring to the microphone Consul General Gao from the Chinese consulate just to say a few words, because we couldn't have done this without the partnership of the Chinese government as well.
Well, Honorable Mayor Newsom, Honorable Mr. Johnson, President of the San Francisco Arts Commission, ladies and gentlemen, of course, Honorable Mr. Zhang Huan, welcome to San Francisco. Ladies and gentlemen, it's my great pleasure to join you today in this dedication ceremony of the Three Hands, Six Arms. On this occasion, I would like to thank Mayor and his colleagues for their great efforts to promote the Chinese culture, and thanks to the San Francisco Arts Commission, Ms. Zhang Huan, for providing us with this opportunity to enjoy this beautiful artwork and to celebrate the 30th anniversary of the establishment of sister city relationship between Shanghai and San Francisco. San Francisco is well known for its cultural diversity, and it has also long-standing and profound friendship with the Chinese people. In January 1980, the former mayor Diana Feinstein proclaimed officially the establishment of the sister city relationship between the two cities. And thanks to the concerted efforts after these 30 years, this relationship has achieved remarkable and substantial results. There have been 225 projects of cooperation between the two cities. A dozen of Chinese companies have found their new home here, and San Francisco opened its first overseas office in Shanghai in 2008. I think what is more significant is that this city is going to stage a San Francisco Week during the World Expo in Shanghai. I think that is a vivid expression of friendship and profound friendship and strong special bond between our two cities, and it will surely give new impetus to the friendship and cooperation between our two cities. This sculpture will stay here for a period of time. I think it will help local people to understand China, understand Chinese history, Chinese culture, and the Chinese philosophy of harmony. It will also remind us to work harder to promote our mutual understanding and cooperation. I'm confident that with our joint efforts, we will surely make the San Francisco Week a highlight in the World Expo in Shanghai, but also will make San Francisco the best gateway to China, a pioneer in the development of U.S.-China relations. Thank you.
Thank you, Consul General. The Consul General spoke to the context of why we're here today, and also putting that in context is the head of the Sister City Committee, as well as your BART board member, James Feng. Please.
Thank you very much, PJ. We're very delighted to be part of this fantastic physical monument to the cooperation between the two sisters, between the cities of San Francisco and Shanghai. As has been mentioned before, this will be, in June, our 30th anniversary between our two great cities. It's been a wonderful relationship, and we will be bringing, in June, a delegation of approximately 300 or so people to Shanghai to celebrate this 30th anniversary. This delegation will be divided into two components primarily. A performing component, which will celebrate the diversity of San Francisco, Glide Memorial, Chanticleer, the Samoan dancers, the Irish high step dancers. But the other thing that it'll also bring, we have a very large sustainable energy component while we are there. As some people may or may not know, San Francisco is the only American city in the United States to be granted official participant status at the World Expo. We believe that is a large part due to the wonderful relationship we've had between our two cities. It'll be a fantastic, fantastic trip in June 17th to June 25th. But before I conclude my remarks, I really want to make a couple of quick last points. First, I want to thank many of the sponsors that we have for the Sister City Committee. This thing is a volunteer organization. I really want to quickly acknowledge our presenting sponsor. The founder is here today, Ms. Wei Li Dai. Thank you so much. Marvell has been a key sponsor in making our efforts go forward. The second thing I want to say is, in Chinese culture, the letter 3 is very, very, very important. I want to acknowledge and thank the mayor's leadership for setting up 3. And when you say, James, what do you mean by 3? Well, first was Jay and his Asian Art Museum, right there, the Shanghai exhibit. The second one, obviously, is this wonderful statue. And third, of course, will be San Francisco Week in Shanghai. This shows that the bonds between our cities and the vision of our mayor is really incredible to craft this whole year around our 30th anniversary. It's very well respected in Shanghai, and clearly I know here we very much appreciate it. I will say, without getting too political, I will miss him when he leaves San Francisco. Thank you very much. Oh, and I'd like to present, I was just at the opening ceremony of the World Expo, and I'd like to present an opening program from the World Expo to the mayor. Thank you very much.
As Zhang will soon find out, you never really do leave San Francisco. So, all right. So, not only is this an incredibly important and spectacular work by one of the world's most important artists, but as my 4-year-old daughter who goes to daycare at the basement of City Hall said to me, and she's here, that's really cool. And I think we can all agree. I'm going to ask the artist to speak next. You know, a city is only as great as its people, and San Francisco is a great city. And its cultural life is only as great as its artists and the creativity and intelligence and inspiration that they bring to our cultural life here. For the next 18 months, we're very grateful and very honored to be able to call Zhang one of our own.
Mm, 早上好，朋友们。
Good morning, my friends.
我非常荣幸，
Okay.
非常荣幸，在今天的一个重要瞬间，和我们大家和旧金山一起分享，这个从东方来的飞过来的这个神在旧金山落成。
I'm really honored today to share this moment with everybody here in San Francisco to actually have the ceremony of this giant god flying from the Orient to San Francisco today.
我没想到我们的市长这么年轻又这么帅，对艺术呢还有这么好的眼力。
He wasn't expecting that the mayor is so young and handsome and have such good taste of art.
我真的昨天晚上我还在跟朋友们讲，我真的希望这个市长能给我一个旧金山荣誉市民的这么一个称号。
He was hoping last night that the mayor can honor him the honorable citizen of San Francisco.
过去我大概是5年以前的10几年中，我主要是用身体做表演艺术。当时因为是
自己年轻，荷尔蒙过剩，做了很多这个身体艺术。
In about 5 years ago, I actually spent like more than 10 years doing performance art, and I was really young and energetic.
有荷尔蒙旺盛。
And I have a strong hormone in my body, so I want to use them all.
所以现在呢，这个已经45岁了，荷尔蒙逐步在减少。那么我希望呢，通过我的艺术呢，给旧金山、给我们的美国、给我们整个地球的人类带来新的荷尔蒙。
Now I am 45, and the level of my hormone in my body is kind of gradually lowered down. But I want to use my art to give this new hormone to the world, to the art, and to human beings.
我感谢所有的为这个项目贡献许多智慧和劳动的朋友们和公司，还有中国和旧金山的这些政府官员。
I want to thank everybody who worked really hard to this project, their intelligence, their hard work, and people work in the City Hall and the sponsors.
我认为今天的整个全球呢，大家希望的再也不希望有灾难、有战争、有暴力出现。我们希望这个三头六臂给我们人类带来更多的和谐、宽容和慷慨。
Nobody wants war and hurtful things happen in this world anymore. So I do hope my work, 3 Heads and 6 Arms, will bring peace and harmony to our whole world.
好，讲完了。
Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Okay, moving on from the hormone part of the program, this is usually the part where I talk about how incredible our mayor is when it comes to the arts, and it's true. No mayor has done as much to promote and protect the arts and the cultural life of this city as our current mayor, Mayor Gavin Newsom. You've all been very gracious, standing here in the sun, sitting here in the sun, waiting to get to the mayor, so I'll turn it right over to him. Mayor Gavin Newsom.
Thanks, PJ. Thank you. Thank you all. Well, based on Mr. Zhang Huan's comments, as far as I'm concerned, he is an honorary citizen of San Francisco. So thank you for your comments. Thank you for the spirit that brought you here and for your art and for your commitment to the cause that brings us together, which is a cause of understanding and an appreciation of our capacity to recognize that we all have some remarkable and interesting differences that it is right to celebrate, but at the end of the day, we're all bound together by the things that bind us together in terms of our common humanity. And it's, I think, appropriate that this day is occurring here in San Francisco and not someplace else. We're the birthplace of the United Nations. This is a city with population over 30% Asian. This is a city that is the first and largest Chinatown in the United States. It's a city that is appropriately celebrating 3 decades of specific relationship with the people of Shanghai and China. This is a city that, again, has always maintained itself as other people oriented, that recognizes that its real inspiration is by looking for inspiration, not just internally, but looking for inspiration around the world. So I'm very proud to be here. I'm proud to be here at this important moment. I'm proud of the incredible team at the Arts Commission, Luis Cancel, the great leadership of PJ Johnson and the entire commission, and to the passion and persistence and dedication and focus and follow-through of Jill Manton, who deserves a big round of applause. Jill, congrats wherever you went. She's signing a contract somewhere. Oh, no, she's right here. And to all of our sponsors, I won't begin again, but the Who family, all of you, for your incredible contribution. Thank you sincerely for making this happen. We did want to be audacious. We did want to do something bold. We did want something that would get some attention and generate some controversy. The only thing missing is I don't think this is particular. Everyone seems to love this thing. It doesn't seem to be particularly controversial, which I'm surprised, because trust me, 10 years ago, if someone said they were going to put a 15-ton sculpture anywhere in this town, 3 stories high, there was no way it would generate anything but headlines and controversial columns. Remember the days when we were trying to put a foot in the Embarcadero, a peace sign down in the Haight? And boy, I love the idea. This was really audacious, a giant spider on the dome of City Hall. And everyone went crazy. I mean, you thought the sky would fall in. People were so upset by those things. But in the last number of years, we've changed perceptions and we've changed people's minds by changing their hearts to understand that you don't have to like everything, but we want to challenge you. And we want you to think, and we want you to pause, and we want you to reflect, and we want you to get engaged, and art can do that. And I've already had the privilege this last week of seeing this go up and see how people are reacting to it, and the physical changes in their body, and they're walking by, and they look up, and they stop, and they pause, and they sit down, and they kind of reflect. And that's what this is all about. It's to challenge you. I mean, why are there 3 heads? My chief of staff said, well, the first head went up, and what were the other heads doing there, and the other arms? And he said, where's the torso and the legs? And that's exactly what we should be talking about, and that's what great public art is all about. So I'm just very proud of this piece, and proud of, again, the team that brought it here, proud of our relationship with Shanghai and James Fang and all his great work with the Shanghai sister city, the fact that we have a San Francisco. I don't know if you know this. This is a big deal. There's no city anywhere in the world that was given a designation to have a separate celebration of sorts in concert with the Shanghai 2010 Expo. This is a big deal. But San Francisco was afforded that privilege and that honor, again, because we recognize the importance of that relationship. And at the end of the day, that's truly what we are celebrating with this remarkable piece of art. Thank you to all of you that took the time to come out here, particularly these kids. This is what it's all about, those young artists. A bow, well done. Keep up the good work. They are all better artists than I. That one in particular. Well done. And to all the other children that are out here that are inspired by this work, and to all of those that maintain that quality of imagination regardless of your time of life, but your state of mind, for being here. That artist inside of all of us, that creativity that all of us need to cherish and celebrate and explore and share. With that, I will end by saying nothing more than what I have already said, and wish you all a wonderful afternoon. Wish you lots of luck. Wish me luck with the budget that I'm submitting that clearly is being leveraged against any cuts to the arts. That's what I'm hearing from that's why they're being so nice, because I know I'm putting that budget together. Thank you, Rec and Park and Phil Ginsberg, for letting us do this and breaking every rule, because these are things you're not supposed to do. That's another topic for another day. We're asking for forgiveness, Ed Lee. Thank you to the city administrator. Thank you to Virgin Airlines for being here and promoting this city around the world. Have a great afternoon. Thank you.
All right, thanks everybody. We're going to take some pictures. The artist is going to consecrate the piece, and check it out, enjoy it, and have a great day. Thanks very much.